Hey everyone, I want to talk about a topic that holds many people back. I got Daisy over here next to me. And that is the concept of hype culture. And I want to talk about why hype culture isn't really what it seems and the problems that hype culture is doing in the minds of everyone, but primarily a lot of people under 25 who have been born and raised around this instant gratification, get rich quick. I want to get out of school and make a $300,000 salary with a bachelor's degree in art, all this type of stuff. And why we're moving further and further away from reality, which is going to have a lot of cons, especially with AI and instant gratification with work and no craftsmanship. I was listening to a video yesterday of a really good real estate analyst I listened to who has his own app that he invented, talking about just the difference in the craftsmanship between an 1870 house and a new build today because of how fast they build them, the craftsmanship, the quality, all that stuff. So before I go any further, please subscribe. Hit that like button down below. Let me know what you think about this topic. I think this is a very, very important topic to cover. And I think that luckily for me, when I graduated high school was 2008. That's the year the first iPhone came out, I believe. So I had my entire high school days with like the Nokia antenna phone or I just got water in my eye from my Ultra wristband. Wow, this is why I don't wear that. That was perfect timing. I flipped it and went right in my eye. Awesome. Life frustrations right there. Oh, now I'm going to be like blinking for the rest of that. So, look at her. Look at her right there. She's pathetic. So pathetic. So, I tend to use Tony Robbins as an example because everyone knows who's Tony Robbins is. Now, I have read Tony Robbins' book called Money, and I've listened to many things by Tony Robbins. And everything I'm about to say has nothing to do with Tony Robbins. It's just that you can't change anyone. It's like when I'm on a call with someone. I don't get upset anymore when someone doesn't listen to me. It doesn't bother me too much. I like to joke around and provide advice from a compassionate, empathetic view, but also with a good amount of tough love when it's needed, because it's certainly needed in many cases. And that's usually missing. And this particular thing we're about to talk about is primarily tough love for a lot of things that people don't want to hear. Now, before I go any further, to the untrained eye, this might sound pessimistic or negative, but that's because the world has convinced you that, you could do anything you want if you put your mind to it. You certainly can. You have genetic limitations, you have IQ limitations, intelligence, you have low frustration tolerance limitations that you have right now. Most people will achieve average achievements. They won't make a lot of money. What's the statistic? Less than 1% of all people in America will be able to retire off money that they earned, saved, and invested. Less than 1%. It used to be 5%, but now I think it's 1%. Jim Rohn used to talk about being 5%. That means, and that includes pensions. So less than 1% of people in this country will be able to retire off money that they earned, they saved, and they invested. It didn't come from Medicare, Medicaid, that. And I'm not saying that I'm better than you or that other people are better than you. I'm just saying those are the realities of life. Most people never get their anger and their emotions under control. I don't think I would have been able to get it under control unless I had severe OCD happen to me and hit me like a freight train. So going back to the Tony Robbins thing, Tony Robbins has that big seminar in Fort Lauderdale, I believe it's in, or South Florida somewhere, Delray area, Boca, where thousands and thousands of people come for whatever it is, 6 to 8 days. And I've always said this, if you followed those people for a year post, 99% are back to doing exactly what they did and they made no change. Why? Because jumping up and down on stage is not actually, it doesn't create an atmosphere for discipline for most people. I base nothing in my life off motivation or inspiration. That doesn't mean I don't feel those things. I definitely have bouts of motivation and inspiration that come into my life, but I don't base anything off those things. I do things because of a pro-cons list that I constantly create in my head. Do I like to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go do legs on a Saturday morning? No, but keeping the habit is good for my life. I'm 34 years old, 35 this year. I have no aches and pains, no problems. I see many people in my chiro practice. I see many people younger than me that have chronic problems or tendinitis and stuff. And I say to them, when was the last time you worked out for 4 days a week, upper, lower for 6 months? No, never. So I do it because it helps me move better. I can run around. I can move. We're moving right now. So lifting the mattresses and the heavy couches, I have a much less chance of hurting myself. No 100% guarantee, but it's everything in my life is a pros cons list. Why do I try to read every day? Pros and cons, right? The cons, sometimes I don't get to read until in between calls, or, every once in a while I don't get any reading in, but, I try to get at least 5 pages in a day. Sometimes I get 50 pages in a day. I treat it as a discipline, so I think it's really, really, really important. And it's really difficult to hear this because, Rob and I were watching something the other day where an individual was at another big seminar by someone who many people know in the present space, in that Eckhart Tolle realm. It wasn't him. And they were saying how they had all these epiphanies on the first day. And it sounds so good. They're in Bali or something, or they're on vacation. But the reality is that's not how the world works. Epiphanies without constant action day in and day out don't really change a lot of things. And this is a really hard thing for people to hear, because when they hear the stuff, they immediately, like I said, they go to, you're being negative. This is so negative. This is pessimistic. No, I believe Albert Ellis, who created rational emotive behavioral therapy, put it perfectly when he said, the best combination is realness, skepticism, being realistic, being skeptic, but also being optimistic. The problem is when you're too optimistic all the time. Rob is literally just like me. He just is like boom, 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 just messaging me. I could see it going over and over and over again. Literally, like, it's so funny. For some reason, I forgot to turn my thing off. It just boom, boom. He just messaged me like, there we go again. I think he just messaged me 20 times in a row. I'm not even 21. Let's see how many more go. He stopped. So those type of things used to drive me crazy, by the way, being interrupted when I was doing things. Same thing with the dogs. That all comes down to frustration tolerance. Just a little bit of tidbit of information from you. So when you want to do something in your life, maybe you have a goal that you want to achieve, it's going to be very, very, very important to look at it from the perspective of, this is going to take a lot more work than I'm willing to put in, more than likely. I can learn to put that work in. I'm going to have a lot of sacrifices, but the chances are it's not going to go the way how I think it is. I'll use another example. Most people know who Alex Hormozi is. Very intelligent business person. He was on with Tom Bilyeu, I think is how you say your last name, some impact theory. And he invented Quest bars. And I believe he sold it when he was 40 for $1 billion, Tom. And Alex Hormozi said something along the lines of, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure this is how it went. He's like, well, now that you've done it once, you could just do it again. And that was really, because I was expecting Tom to just say with all these individuals, say, oh, yeah, definitely, 100%. And Tom said, he surprised me. He said, no, there was so much more luck and timing and random, just the way it went. The chance of me being able to sell $1 billion business again is very rare. And Hormozi did not take that lightly. Now, Hormozi doesn't get emotional, but I don't think he agreed with Tom, where I would highly disagree with Alex in that statement. Most people who are billionaires today, but there's like 3,100 billionaires, there is so much market timing luck. As Gary Vee says, for every one Facebook, there are 1 million fails. Perfect timing, total luck. The market needed something new. It was desperate. And then just random shit that came together. So it's a little bit different than most people think. And it's so important to cover that unless you're realistic about that, it's hard to bring that on board. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I got to run a little bit short of a video because I have a one-to-one. I want to schedule this in because I was a little bit busier for today. And just really think about the realistic effects when you want to achieve your goals. So important to cover that. So if you guys have any questions, please reach out to Phil in the direct message link. Remember, webinars are 8:30 p.m. UK time. Let me know and hope to hear from you soon. Have a good one, everyone.